We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
What's up? Welcome to Weird Wednesday. How's it going, Jamie?
Oh, it's going.
Oh, it's going. It is most assuredly going.
How about
Going
yourself?
crazy. Oh, same thing. Different day. Not really the same thing. Very different things, different day.
Do tell.
Oh, man. Doing stuff around the house. Darcy has a mystery stomach bug. Maybe weird reaction to medicine. Something. I don't know. Yeah, we put the new sink in the other day. That was fun.
I saw that. It came out looking really good, though.
Yeah, it's a lot more room than the previous one. The faucet kind of is a little weird, but I'll get used to it. But yeah, the other sink I had, it was one of the double sinks, and like you go to clean a pan and you couldn't put the whole pan in there with the handle. And it's just a pain in the ass. So after 7-8 years, went and bought a new sink.
It's a little thing sometimes.
Yeah, it's the little things in life that it's the little things that remind me how fat and out of shape I am when I try to get down on the floor and crawl under the sink. It's like, son of a bitch, this is harder than it was last time I did this. Oh, man.
But you did it.
Darcy took charge. I worked on the top end. She worked on the bottom end. Between the two of us, we make a good team and got it done.
And that's what counts.
Yeah. So I was telling Jamie that I had it's like story time tonight. I figured, might as well tell somebody, right? Yeah, exactly, Zariana. It's the little things. Yeah, that I should have finished that, Janice. That was the deal. It was getting down on the floor is not a problem. Getting back up is the problem. I've fallen and I can't get up. I need my medical alert bracelet. Man, getting old blows. Getting old and fat blows. But yeah. So the other night, we went out, had to run an errand, and me, I'm like night owl, so it's like 3 a.m. when we had to go run this errand. Made a drug deal down behind Pick and Save. No. So we go out. We're cruising down the road. We got the dogs with us, who you can probably hear barking right now because that's for some reason what they do when I go on live. But yeah, we're cruising down the road, And we get up to an intersection and I look up, I'm like, holy shit, what is that? You know? And I see this big, huge, like orange, like flamethrower looking thing in the sky. And I'm like, what in the hell, you know? And I'm like, oh man. Well, all the UFOs talk and all that, you know, you can imagine what's going through my brain. And I'm like fumbling for my phone. I'm like, wait a minute, this has got to be like a rocket launch or something. So we're both trying to look it up, and I'm looking on Twitter, you know, at Elon Musk's account, and he doesn't say a damn thing about a rocket launch, you know. So, you know, Darcy finally finds it. Yeah, it was a rocket launch, a SpaceX launch, shooting up more satellites and something else. So it's like, okay, at least, you know, we know that, you know, the probers aren't coming right away, and it's just SpaceX. So that was cool to see, you know, at 3:10 in the morning. It was 3:11 when we were looking at it, according to the clock in my car. And so we cruise up the road a little bit further and go do an errand. I'm coming back, and there's a train track where I always get stopped by a train, and I start filming, you know, every time I get stopped by trains, I start filming it. And there was no train that night. There was one last night that I got some pretty good footage of, but there's a semi truck, you know, we're like, wow, it's a big ass truck coming down this road. You know, you usually don't see semi trucks or big box trucks coming. So anyways, it's coming, kind of passes, and we get up to the intersection, and I hear the guy like tooting his horn, and I'm thinking, oh, is he like, because my dogs, of course, are barking at it because they like to bark at white trucks. This was a big white semi truck, so they were barking at it. So I figured he was tooting the horn at them, but then I realized there's another truck sitting there, like at the light, which was green, and it wasn't moving. So, you know, we go ahead and turn. Didn't really think anything of it. We go ahead and turn, and we're going down the next road. We're going to go to a little store, little convenience store. So we're cruising. We're just talking, bullshitting. And out of nowhere, this dude in like cutoff jeans and maybe a t-shirt or something comes running out in front of us in the highway, flailing his arms and yelling and screaming. Scares the shit out of me. I swerve and miss him. And, you know, of course, the dogs are
What?
freaking out. We're all freaking out. I'm like, what the, you know, and Darcy's like, what is he saying? And I'm like, I got no fucking idea. I was like, there's three choices. There's three options. Either I swerve and miss him, or he swerves and I miss him, or I just flat out run his ass over, because the fourth option of stopping is not going to happen at 3 something in the morning with some crazy jackass running out in front of me. So the option of me swerving and missing him is the one that happened. So we're like, what the hell, you know? So we go ahead and I'm like, should I call the cops, you know? And we're talking about it. I'm like, I don't know, man, that was weird. So we go ahead and we go to the store, which is a couple miles away. On the way back, we're coming back the same way. And I come over, there's like a little, like an overpass thing right there. I come over it, and, you know, cop lights are everywhere on the side of the road, right where the crazy guy ran out. So I'm like, oh yeah, they got him hemmed up or something, you know? And I'm thinking maybe there was a wreck, you know? Maybe I should have stopped. Maybe there's a wreck. Because there's a fence and there's like a big retention pond that goes down the road. I'm thinking, you know, do you see any like breaks in the fence or anything weird? Nope, nothing. So I'm like, all right. So if we get up a little bit further and that truck is still sitting in the freaking intersection with its lights on, there better be some cops there too, because that's some wackety shit going on right there. Get up there, no cops there, truck still sitting there. I'm like, what the? So I do a U-turn. I'm like, I gotta figure out what's going on at this point. So I was gonna go back to where the cops were at, and just figure out what's happening. So I turn around, come back up the little overpass thing. Fucking cops are gone. They're gone. They're just gone. No crazy guy in the street. Nothing. They're gone. They didn't go to where the truck was in the middle of the road. So I'm going. Next thing I know, there's a cop behind me. I'm like, gosh, shit. Because he's probably seen me drive by like 2 or 3 times now. And so he follows me for a bit, and then he finally leaves. So I turn around, I go back. And I'm like, all right, there's no way that the truck's still going to be sitting there. Come up over the little, overpass thing. I look, that fucking truck is still sitting there. So I turn right, I go down, I do a U-turn, I come back, and I slow way down, and I'm driving by the truck, and I'm looking, and it's sitting there, it's running. There's nobody in it. There's like nobody around, nobody in the truck. I'm just like, what the hell is going on? Why is there a truck sitting in the intersection and there's no cops here? There's no nothing. So I'm like, oh, fuck it. I'm calling the cops.
Why was there a guy running and flailing?
I know. It's like, we were like, are we in the Twilight Zone? So I'm like, okay, I'm calling the cops. So I'm like, hey, Siri, what's she's probably going to look it up now. The number to the sheriff's department. So it's giving me the number. And I'm dialing it, and I'm about to hit dial on my phone. And I'm only like 2 blocks away. And I look in the rearview mirror, the freaking truck that was back there is now gone. And I'm like, what the? And I see headlights, and the bitch drives by me. Yeah. And at that point, I was just like, okay, at this point, I just want to go home because I don't know what's happening. Yeah, it was a weird evening. There was nobody in the truck. It was just sitting there for a long time. Like, it took me probably 15 minutes to go to the store and back, and it was still sitting there.
How far apart was the dude and the truck?
Not very.
Do you
it
think
was at
that
an
he's on
intersection.
drugs or something, or something's wrong with him, and he started running, trying to flag? He jumped out at you and was like, "Woo!" Or what was?
Oh yeah, he fully ran out like in front of us. Like, if I hadn't a swerved,
Like
I was
he
doing
wanted to run into traffic.
Maybe, I don't know. I was doing like probably 40, 50 miles, probably 40 miles an hour. I would have plowed him if I hadn't swerved out of the way. Yeah, because he ran like right out in front of us, and he was yelling something, but I couldn't understand what he was saying.
What if it was a warning and he's like, "There's a UFO, don't go, don't go."
Yeah, it sounded like he was saying no or something like that, but I don't know. I don't know what the hell was going on, but.
And what was he wearing? He had a shirt.
Like shorts, cut off jeans, and I think he was wearing a t-shirt. I can't really remember.
He was clothed. Okay.
Yeah, he had clothes on. It was weird.
Oh, I am like intrigued. I want to know what the hell.
Yeah, it was a pickup truck. A white pickup truck. See, my dogs know something about white pickup trucks. I don't know. But yeah, man, it was weird. Yeah, Royal. It was like, I was asking myself, what in the hell is going on right now? Darcy's like, I think we're in the Twilight Zone. It's just weird, like a weird amount of weird things happening all at once. Start out, with the rocket, and I'm like, okay, that's got an explanation after a few minutes, and then it just continued to get fucking up the weirdo scale.
Now you're having that insane lightning.
Yeah, we were having some crazy lightning earlier. So we got a tornado warning, so who knows? I could go off the air. I think it's over now, but I was telling Jamie I had my camera outside on a tripod filming the whole thing. I
want to see it.
But yeah, it was weird. It was a weird evening. And of course, can't find a damn thing about any of it in the news or anything. You think there's some crazy guy running around out in the middle of the highway. You think somebody would say, hey, crazy guy running around on the road the next morning or something, Nope.
It's just that normal now.
I guess, yeah. And I saw when I came back towards my house, there's a little fire station right up the road from here. The cops always hang out in the parking lot. And I was this close to pulling over and just saying, hey, what the hell's going on down the road there? But I didn't do it. Should have. But I didn't. It's always weird pulling up to cops in a parking lot at 3:30 in the morning. Yeah, exactly. I didn't want to stop. I kind of felt bad because maybe this guy was having an emergency. But at the same time, I'm not going to have him shove a gun in my face and jump in my shitty car and steal it.
Yeah,
My shitty car, but at least it's my shitty car that's paid off.
Out here, they bump you in the back if you just get like a little knock, and so then people get out, to do whatever, and then they jack you. That's why if you just barely get rear-ended, you don't stop.
Yeah.
And some countries, they use dirt bikes, motorcycles.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe God knows, only knows.
Yeah.
And add the Florida factor to it.
I know, some crazy tweaker. Who knows? Didn't see him. Maybe the cops picked him up. I don't know. Maybe I should look through the jail log and see if I see him booked in there.
Oh, they're not going to even bother with that kind of stuff. Well, I guess you are Florida.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh yeah. They'll take you to jail here for anything.
Yeah, they won't out here. They're just like, whatever.
Okay. You can go now.
They just don't even bother to look at you.
Yeah.
Because then they have to do paperwork.
Exactly. Yeah, when I got, they're kind of getting that way here. Not terribly, but when I had that hit and run a while back, somebody smacked my car and hauled ass. And I called the police. I chased them down first and got their tag number, but I went back to the scene of the accident, met a police woman there. And, I'm telling her what happened, and, I'm expecting her to be writing some stuff down. And she's like, well, do you want to fill out a report? And I'm like, yeah. And she was like, okay. It's like, geez, come on. You got a pencil? Learn how to use it. Yeah, it was like an inconvenience for her to fill out a form. Just more paperwork.
Just more to do. I mean, they don't even want to deal with like gunshots, suspicious people. You have to pretty much be committing, in the process of committing a crime that people have actual proof that they're doing before they're even going to dispatch somebody out anymore.
Yeah.
Or wait till they already die.
Yeah.
Then they'll come out.
Yeah.
But that's, due to being also extremely short-staffed and changing departments around and getting rid of things like the gang units and the drug units and,
Yeah, exactly.
stolen car units. We got rid of the stolos a long time ago, so they won't come out for stolen cars in certain cities out here.
Yeah. That was one night too when I went out that I didn't have my gun on my side. I usually am packing some sort of weapon. That was the one night I didn't have it, and the shit hits the fan. Oh well. Well, speaking of weird things, you guys probably saw this one in the running around the interwebs. If it would actually work here, I could share it.
There's definitely no shortage on weird stuff.
Lost children found alive in the rainforest 40 days after a plane crash. There's been a few of these, and this is one of the latest, I guess. Let's see. These children were miraculously found very much alive after a massive search effort spanning more than 5 weeks. It's a story that might sound like something straight out of a Hollywood movie, but it's a real life tale of survival in a hostile environment against all odds. Is very much the real deal. The 4 siblings, aged 13, 9, 4, and 1, had been traveling to San Jose Gaviar aboard a Cessna 206 light aircraft when their mother and two pilots when their plane experienced engine problems and ended up crash landing in Colombia's Amazon rainforest. All 3 of the adults died, but the children managed to survive. What followed was a remarkable feat of survival and endurance as the youngsters looked after by the eldest sibling, who was only 13, wandered into the jungle to look for help. Meanwhile, a massive search and rescue operation was being carried out, involving dozens of soldiers who scoured the dense rainforest for any clues as to the survivors' whereabouts. As the weeks went on, they found evidence, including footprints and objects, that the children had dropped, leading them to believe that they could still be alive. Eventually, after 40 days alone in the jungle, the children were finally located. They have since been airlifted to the hospital where they are receiving treatment. I'm very grateful, and to our Mother Earth as well, as they were set free, said their grandmother. But yeah, it's like 4 kids surviving in the jungle is a pretty cool thing to happen. You can see it happening, but the oldest one is only 13 and the youngest one is 1. Like, that 1-year-old most likely wasn't walking. So that means one of these kids or all of these kids had to take turns carrying him or her. I don't know which it was, but yeah, 13, 9, 4, and 1. So who knows? Maybe there was a Bigfoot that helped them get back to civilization. Who knows? Pretty miraculous that they can survive in the rainforest with, hell, just mosquitoes and ants and bugs alone could kill you after 40 days, and what are they eating? Maybe maybe they had survival skills anyway. Maybe they're used to eating stuff out of the jungle. I don't know.
They're kids.
I don't know the details, but yeah, it's pretty miraculous that they survived. A week's one thing, 40 days in the jungle by yourself. How many of us would survive if we just fell out of a plane, landed in the jungle, and you were just, you and your friends, and you're out there for well over a month by yourself with nothing, the clothes on your back. These kids are pretty badass.
When I had first seen that the other day, I was saying, no way, like this can't be, But crazier things have happened. Maybe they were also drinking water off the leaves, or just being kids. They just don't care what they eat, and they just eat whatever.
Yeah. More than likely they've learned from somebody, at least the older one, has learned some sort of, I don't know, maybe not survival skills, but, just how to find things to eat. What's safe and what's not. I don't know. Who knows?
I'd be interested in finding like the full story on it, or if there's one with like more detail as far as how they actually did,
Yeah.
like what they actually did to survive. How they slept at night, like stayed warm.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of different. You're like out in the elements.
Yeah. I mean, when you just look at the story, it's like, wow, that's pretty cool. But when you think about it, put yourself in that position. It's like, damn, the Amazon jungle. I mean, who knows what's out there? Snakes, spiders, ants, tigers, monkeys, baboons. Who freaking knows, I'm sure there's a lot of animals out there that would, especially a 1-year-old, look at it as, ooh, something to eat.
Pretty incredible. Yeah, the cat, like clockwork, that's her tearing the box up right now.
Oh, nice. Yeah, exactly. Eat the wrong plant, the wrong berries.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't want to sleep on the ground. You don't know if you're out. You try to sleep off of the ground, but it doesn't even matter out there too, because there's like shit up in the trees. Stuff can get up there. Bootsy, can you stop?
Yeah, and you got a 1-year-old.
And you got a 1-year-old.
You ain't got no diapers. You ain't got no nothing. You ain't got no baby powder.
Well, unidentified, and she's the trauma cat, like the PTSD cat that she gets really freaked out by little things. But you have to stop, Boots. Unidentified object spotted over UK during Red Arrow's air show. The other one was what I can't remember the name of it right now. The prince, the king.
Oh, yeah.
And I almost thought this was the same thing at first. The incident. Hold on. Distracting as hell. The incident, which occurred at the Torbay Air Show on June 3rd around 5:33 p.m., saw a crowd of onlookers watch in awe as the Red Arrows performed their signature display high above them. Some people, however, noticed that something else had decided to join in. According to a photographer who captured an image of the UFO on camera, the object was traveling at speeds of at least 1,000 miles per hour and had shot right through the middle of their display. They were in formation when suddenly, without warning, a black anomalous object shot right through the middle of their formation at terrific speed, he wrote. I could hardly believe what I was seeing. This object must have been going at least 1,000 miles per hour as it passed dangerously close to the Red Arrows as it shot off and disappeared from view. Another spectator, Emma Smith, also photographed the object. I was going back through my Red Arrow photographs that I took near the pier at around 5:45, and I noticed a black speck fairly close to the aircraft, she wrote. I zoomed in and couldn't quite believe what I was seeing. It was the shape of a spinning top and definitely was not a speck on my lens. I only have an iPhone, but the zoom capacity is fairly decent. So I don't know. I didn't have any video footage of it, and I didn't really search for it either. So
Yeah,
I'd be curious to see if there was actual video on it.
yeah. Weird stuff going on. A lot of weird stuff happening. You know, I was like looking for stuff on. Did you watch any of the June 12th, you know, UFO meet talk disclosure?
Mm-mm. I actually forgot about it.
Yeah, I watched some of it with Dr. Greer, and he had, you know, a full panel of people that were, you know, witnesses to different things. There's some crazy stories in there, and I don't know. Weird that there's like, you think it would be all over the news, but it's not really.
Especially with, you know, all the stuff coming out.
Yeah.
You'd think it'd be like a hot topic. I posted about it. I actually completely forgot about it.
Yeah.
Today, when I actually realized the date, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was still the 10th. It's like, what? Was it
Yeah, it's weird. You know, I mean, it's been mentioned on the news. It's, you know, it's mentioned here and there, but you think there would be more about it, but I don't know. I don't know how, you know, I know we both have more from the whistleblower tonight.
Oh, you had that same one? Did you have the same video, same article?
I get a couple of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of different whistleblower type things. Oh, Janice says it was on the news, so there's maybe video of it somewhere.
Yeah, there's a complete rundown, a complete video of it on YouTube. They had it live, and you can go back and watch it if they haven't removed it already. I don't know. I watched most of it. This isn't really news, but this is one of those weird stories that just, you know, things that I wonder about. I don't know if I'll read the whole thing, but if humans vanished, what would the Earth be like after 1 year? Things that make you go, We have a profound impact on our planet, but what would happen if we all simply disappeared? It could happen. You never know. With all this weird alien talk, they could just come down and we're done. And the Earth would just be left standing still with animals and everything except humans. What would happen without humans? Have you ever wondered what the world would be like if everybody suddenly disappeared? You know, you've seen it in movies and stuff. You know, and I look at places like abandoned, you know, I'm always looking at abandoned houses or buildings or something. It's amazing without care, like how fast Mother Nature takes them over, and, you know, they get grown up, grown over, grown in, all kinds of stuff. But what would happen to all our stuff? What would happen to our house, our schools, our neighborhoods, our cities? Who would feed the dog? Who'd cut the grass? Although it's a common theme in movies, TV shows, and books, the end of humanity is still a strange thing to think about. But as an associate professor of urban design, this is someone who helps towns and cities plan what their communities will look like. It's sometimes my job to think about prospects like this. So much silence. If humans disappeared from the world and you could come back to Earth and see what would happen 1 year later, the first thing you'd notice wouldn't be with your eyes. It would be with your ears. The world would be quiet, and you would realize how much noise people make. Our buildings are noisy, our cars are noisy, our sky's noisy. All of that noise would stop. You'd notice the weather. After a year without people, the sky would be bluer, the air would be cleaner, the wind and rain would scrub clean the surface of the earth. All the smog and dust that humans make would be gone. Imagine that first year when your house would sit unbothered by anyone. Go inside your house. Hope you're not thirsty because there wouldn't be any water in your faucets. Water systems require constant pumping. If you had a well, maybe, but if no one's at the public water supply to manage the machines that pump the water, then there's no water. But the water that could be in the pipes when everybody disappeared, if you're in a cold environment, the pipes would burst. Frigid air would freeze in the water, the pipes would burst in them. There would be no electricity. Power plants would stop working because no one would be there to monitor and maintain them at a fuel supply of fuel. So your house would be dark, no lights, no TV, no phones, no computers. Your house would be dusty. Actually, there's dust in the air all the time, but we don't notice it as much because air conditioning and heaters blow it all around. As you move through the rooms in your house, you keep dust on the move too. But if all that stops, the air inside your house would be still and the dust would settle all over. The grass in your yard would grow and grow and grow until it's long and floppy, and it would stop growing. New weeds would appear and they'd be everywhere. Lots of plants that you've never seen before would take root in your yard. Every time a tree drops a seed, a little sapling might grow. No one would be there to pull it out or cut it down. You'd notice a lot more bugs buzzing around. Remember, people tend to do everything they can to get rid of bugs. They spray the air, the ground with bug spray. They remove bug habitats, put screens on windows. If all that doesn't work, they swat them. Without people doing all these things, the bugs would come back. They'd have free reign over the world again. In your neighborhood, critters would wander around looking and wondering. First, the little ones, mice, groundhogs, raccoons, skunks, foxes, beavers. The last one might surprise you, but North America was once rich with beavers. Big animals would come later. Deer, coyotes, the occasional bear. Not in the first year, maybe, but eventually. Depends on where you live, I guess. No electric lights, no rhythm of the natural world. The rhythm of the natural world would return. The only light would be from the sun and the moon and stars. The critters would feel good because they get their dark skies back. Fires would happen frequently. Lightning might strike trees and fields or set a brush on fire, hit houses and buildings. Without people to put them out, those fires would keep going until they burned themselves out. After just 1 year, the concrete, roads, highways, bridges, and buildings would look about the same. Come back, say a decade later, cracks in them would have appeared with little plants wiggling up through them. All kinds of things would be growing on the roads and the streets. Bridges with metal legs would slowly rust. Beams and bolts that hold the bridges up, they'd rust too. Bridges would start falling because there's no one there to maintain them. Dams and levees would break. Farm animals would be easy prey for bears, coyotes, wolves, panthers, and pets. Cats would probably go feral. They'd become wild, though many would be preyed upon by larger animals. Most dogs wouldn't survive. There's a lot that would happen if we just, cease to remain here. I guess it wouldn't really matter to us because we wouldn't be here, but I always see, things in movies where, humans have gone and the way the earth develops without people.
Remember that TV show?
Yeah.
With that Saturday Night Live guy? I can't think of it now.
Yep. Even when it really kind of made me realize it more, like when the pandemic first happened, and everything just shut down for a month. It's like all of a sudden the skies started looking clearer, especially, places like LA and all that, even India, which has some dirty ass air. Excuse me. The smog and everything just disappeared till we started cranking everything back up again, screwing it up.
And people survived without all of that before. It would just be off-grid living. If you were if there was a nuclear blast, say, and you come out of your silo 3 years later and,
yeah,
there's only the people crawling out of their silo to look around. And then it'd be off-grid living. I mean, we would do fine. wouldn't be
Yeah.
as comfortable, but we can,
Yeah, definitely
figure
wouldn't
it
be
out.
comfortable. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how, how much you take for granted. You can just flip a switch in your house. Boom, the lights come on. Or, music or a TV, a box with entertainment, if all of that shit was gone, we wouldn't be doing any of this,
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
Back to chiseling on the rocks.
Yeah. When the sun goes down, the lights go out, you know,
Unless you have
unless you,
fire.
unless you got a fire. Yeah. Which you would probably, I don't know.
Make your torches again and candles. If you
Yeah.
have these, you can make wax or make a candle.
Yeah. I wonder if something like that,
Oh, we still have Wi-Fi.
wonder if something like that were to happen. Not that people would disappear, but just we lose electricity. Just electricity. Without electricity, you flip that switch, and the only thing that it does is go clink.
Your car ain't going nowhere. Everybody
Yeah.
that jumped on the electric bandwagon.
Yeah, even if you get a gas powered car. Once you run out of gas, how are you going to get more gas? Because it takes electricity to run the pump to pump it out. I guess you could find tanks of gas.
And even if you had like solar power, solar panels, all that, those batteries are going to go out. You need a battery to hold energy, and that's only going to last so long too.
Yeah. Yeah, all my gigs would be acoustic around the
Your
campfire.
little flute in your flute collection.
Yep. Yep. I got acoustic basses and guitars, and flutes and ukuleles and plenty of acoustical instruments. So good in that department.
And the entertainment.
Yeah, it would be weird. We've all gone without electricity for, days at a time, weeks, a month, because of storms or whatever. But if it's just boom, gone for like 6 months or a year, might be good for us.
I think it might. It can't hurt.
But, then like all the people that depend on, machines to live, oxygen and this and that, and this, it's going to cut down the population. People are going to die.
Natural selection.
Yeah, people are going to die in the heat. Some people are going to die in the cold. That can't, take care of themselves. Do I have a favorite bass guitar? I'm mainly a bass guitar player. I can play guitar a little bit, but I pretty much suck on it. I play cigar box guitars. But yeah, I'm mainly a bass guy. I would love to play great lead guitar, but it just ain't never happened.
Well, I got an article about the whistleblower that he is back with more crazy claims. Last week, UFO hopefuls and terrestrial-minded skeptics were captivated by the account of David, a former Pentagon official who claims the United States had been hiding evidence of alien technology and the bodies of crashed alien pilots from Congress. It was a huge allegation taken seriously by some only because of his experience as an intelligence officer working on the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. The UFO Research Wing. In a Sunday interview, he expanded on some of his bold claims and added a few new ones, though he did not provide any evidence beyond his word. Below are the most eye-opening allegations from his 40-minute segment. One of them, the UFOs could be from another dimension. David, who received a college scholarship from the Air Force to study physics, did not describe the unusual aircraft as technology from another planet. I don't want to necessarily denote origin, he said. I don't think we have all the data to say, oh, they're coming from a certain location. He proposed the vehicles the Pentagon is hiding could have come from a different physical dimension as described in quantum mechanics, saying, we know there are extra dimensions due to high energy particle collisions and that there's a theoretical framework to explain that. It could be that this is not necessarily extraterrestrial and actually that it's coming from a higher dimensional physical space that might be co-located right here, he said. In the interview, he reiterated that he has not personally seen the evidence of non-human technology, but that the intelligence officials he spoke with as part of his role on the UFO task force have told him of its existence. The Vatican, another claim, the Vatican was in a UFO cover-up. He claimed the first UFO case he was briefed on involved a vehicle downed in Italy in 1933. The Mussolini government had allegedly kept it in storage until near the end of World War II. Pope the 12th back-channeled the existence of the object to the United States, which obtained it in 1944 or 1945. And he says that there may be massive crafts. David said he has spoken with intelligence officials who have been briefed on giant UFOs observed by the U.S. military. A lot of them are very large, he claimed, like a football field kind of size. I remember interviewing these personnel and thinking, either these people are lying to me, having a psychotic break, or this is some crazy but true stuff that's happening. And I've got no good explanation at all for this because this is not explainable by swamp gas, St. Elmo's fire, a ball of lightning, etc. This is like tangible, technical craft we're seeing up close and personal in some cases. He also claims a private contractor is currently storing a UFO. David claimed a secret UFO retrieval program the government has not publicly acknowledged has given a craft to a defense contractor. I don't want to name the specific companies and government elements, David said. The government has been the custodian of UFO evidence, and they'll hand receipt it out to a clear defense contractor to do some analysis. David, who wants the alleged findings to be released for wider research opportunities in the private sector and academia, has some problems with this. You basically have a sole source arrangement, and you allow certain private corporate elements to look at this, develop a potential insight, and sell it back to the government for a profit. I think that's totally unethical. He also claims that the UFOs have gotten aggressive at times. The logical fallacy there is because they're advanced, they're kind, says David, of the mostly harmless run-ins that have occurred with alleged UFOs over the years. But the ex-intelligence officer claims there is evidence of malevolent activity by UFOs, including nuclear site probing. If we look at it through a humanistic lens, it appears negative, he said. And he claims that people have been killed to protect the secret. Although David claimed he couldn't disclose whether UFOs have ever harmed anyone because it would reveal certain U.S. classified operations, he said people briefed on the matter told him there have been malevolent events in which humans were hurt. David did say, however, that he saw some substantive evidence that white-collar crime had been committed to cover up the UFO programs. He claimed officials he interviewed had described killings done over the years in order to hide the operations. Yeah, I've heard some really un-American things I don't want to repeat right now.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
All of it sounds pretty logical to me.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't doubt it. If it's true, I believe it. I mean, obviously.
Well,
I think they've been doing these type of things, and obviously people have probably gotten hurt along the way. And I mean, people get killed for less, and they don't care about it.
yeah.
I mean, God only knows. Only those people know.
Well, here's another part of the whistleblower. Maybe if I can get this stupid thing to work. Why it give me such a hard time? Whistleblower, crashed UFO, distorted space and time. I think Alan mentioned this just a few minutes ago, too. A lawyer who spoke to the whistleblower, David Grush, has revealed details of one of the objects recovered by the U.S. government. Now, did they really discover it? Did they recover it? Do they have it? Is any of this true? Last week, Grush, who previously worked with the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency and held top-level clearance of the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force, made the startling claim that the U.S. government had been long in possession of intact, partially intact vehicles of non-human origin. Now, Daniel Sheehan, a lawyer who has been working to bring whistleblowers and other witnesses to Congress in an effort to expose the U.S. government's involvement with UFOs and alien visitors, has revealed details of an object that Grush claimed had distorted space and time. They tried to hook a bulldozer to it to pull it out, he told us, and it pulled out a shape like a pie slice, almost like it was part of the way it was constructed. When it came loose a couple of feet, they stopped immediately. They didn't want to destroy the integrity of the machine. Here's where it really gets crazy. They had a guy go into it. He got in there, and inside, it was as big as a football stadium. It was freaking him out, and he started making him feel real nauseous. He was so disoriented because it was so gigantic inside the craft. It was the size of a football stadium, while the outside was only about 30 feet in diameter. He staggered back out after being in there for a couple of minutes. Only thing, outside, it was 4 hours later. There was all kinds of time distortion and space distortion going on inside this vehicle that was supposedly recovered by the U.S. government. So now, do you believe that one or not? pretty strange. You know, I was watching an argument, or not an argument, but a Facebook conversation today. And this one guy I know was saying, the way these, spacecraft supposedly move, where they can, be going 1,000 miles an hour and make a 90-degree turn. And it's just not humanly possible. The G-force would just, tear you to pieces. And I'm like, well, it's not humanly possible. Could be a reason, why we can't do stuff like that. Because, we're affected by G-force. And I mean, if you can go in a 30-foot spacecraft that's 30 feet across, and you go inside and it looks the size of a football stadium, I think G-force is like the last thing on your mind. It's the least of your worries.
Exactly.
If you can distort space and time somehow, we don't come into the realm of logistics, you know, if everything else they're saying is true. But he was like, there's no way, you know, that you know, anyone inside one of these crafts could handle the G-force. Well, who knows what the hell it's like inside one of these crafts.
Exactly.
If it's a freaking football stadium.
It'd be like being on a yacht in like a storm.
Yeah. And like this guy going in, yeah, exactly. Special powers is, you know, missing time during abduction. Yeah, he goes in, and what to him feels like minutes, he comes out and it's 4 hours later. You know, I don't know what's going on. It would probably make me nauseous too. Especially if you were conscious of walking into a little door and on the other side was as big as, you know, a football stadium. Not a football field, a football stadium with the field and, you know, 60 other thousand seats and everything else inside it.
China wants to make that mile-long space station.
Yeah.
I posted something the other day too. They actually have their own version of a flying saucer too.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Me.
I have it on my. I was going to read it tonight, and I didn't because there was so much weird stuff.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you later. This one, I wasn't familiar with this place, and because it was a Star article, the first thing I did was look it up to make sure it's like legit and everything. This place sounds pretty creepy. They've got tons and tons of different stories about this location. The eerie zone of death, where people step off the face of Earth and Bigfoot and UFOs roam. Some suspect, and they had like a ton of pictures, so I'll try to point some of it out. Some suspect a serial killer at play. Others blame eerie UFOs spotted in the area, while many warn of a Bigfoot creature roaming around. But whatever the truth, a series of disappearances in a zone of death along the Appalachian Mountains has left people puzzled for decades. Between 1945 and 1950, 5 people seemingly vanished in an area that they have dubbed the Bennington Triangle, a small triangle located in southwestern Vermont surrounding the now abandoned town of Glastonbury and the nearby Glastonbury Mountain. Tales of the disappearances left Joseph with the fear of vanishing as he was growing up, and in his adulthood. He began to investigate the missing person cases, soon making a disturbing discovery. Speaking exclusive, he says, I found out that not only were a lot of people stepping off the face of the earth, but they were doing it in a place that historically had been considered mysterious, Glastonbury Mountain. It had always had a lot of lore and strange history connected with it. It is said that the Native Americans in the area stayed clear of the mountain because weird things went on over there. The first person to vanish was Mitty Rivers, a 74-year-old hunting guide who disappeared in Hell Hollow in the southwest woods of Glastonbury in 1945. Joseph revealed Mitty's case was particularly baffling because the experienced hunter had been near a group of people he was leading. And that's what he said he was leading, I think, 4 people along a path, and he got a little ahead of the people and they never caught up. I mean, we're talking about a distance of certainly no more than 25 feet. And he just seemingly just stepped off the edge of the earth, never found a trace of him. Next was 18-year-old Paula, and that's the chick with the under your mouse. Yep. Paula Weldon, whose disappearance is still one of the biggest missing person cases in the state. On December 1st, 1946, the Bennington College student set out for a walk on Vermont's Long Trail dressed in a red coat, but she never returned. Despite Vermont having no state police force at the time, a massive manhunt was launched to search for Paula. Joseph wasn't alive when she went missing, but his mother remembers her disappearance vividly, and as he grew up, it was a case that continued to plague locals. He explained, "My mother heard about it, and she talked about it, and it was sort of disturbing to me as a child to think someone could just wander off and essentially vaporize. Thousands and thousands of people searched for her. They used dogs, bloodhounds, and helicopters, and there was so much attention. That case galvanized so much attention here in the state that it caused us to create a state police force." Oh, and then the guy Joseph that's telling the story is the guy on the picture with the blue jacket. Yeah, that's him. Exactly 3 years to the day after Paula's disappearance came one of the most mysterious cases associated with the Bennington Triangle. Multiple witnesses saw a 68-year-old veteran, James E. Tedford, board a bus back to Bennington after returning from a visit with his family in St. Albans City. Witnesses even recalled spotting James in his seat before arriving at the last stop in Bennington, and no one saw him leave the vehicle. But when the bus reached its destination, James was gone, leaving his belongings in the luggage rack and a timetable for the bus on his empty seat. Then, in October 1950, an 8-year-old boy became the youngest victim of the Bennington Triangle. Paul Jepson had been happily playing in his family's pickup truck when his mother warned him not to leave the car as she left to tend to pigs in the nearby farm she and her husband were caretakers of. When she returned, Paul was gone, and despite a search carried out by hundreds of people, as well as bloodhounds, he was never found. His father told the Albany Times-Union at the time that the lure of the mountains could be responsible for his son's disappearance. And then I think they're going to talk about the woman in the black hair right there. The last vanishing in the cluster of disappearances came just 2 weeks later when experienced hiker Frida Langer also disappeared while walking the Long Trail. The 53-year-old had been hiking with her cousin in the Somerset area of the trail near East Glastonbury when she fell into a stream. She ran back to their camp, which was quite nearby, to change, but she never made it to the camp, and her cousin never found her. Just within a defined space with which she was very familiar, she vanished, Joseph said. Of all the disappearances, Frida's was the only one with a resolution. When her remains were found 3.5 miles from the campsite in the eastern branch of the Deerfield River. It was in a place right out in the open where the hundreds of searchers couldn't possibly have missed it. And then like a year later, it reappears, Joseph said. He added, it was apparently in pretty terrible shape, so they couldn't get any clues what had happened, but it was as if when she disappeared, someone or something took her away and then put her back. While ancient myths have shrouded the area for hundreds of years, Joseph revealed some people had been pointing the finger at more recent eerie sightings. There have been a lot of UFO sightings down in that neck of the woods. Glastonbury Mountain, over to the Taconic Mountains, and along the highway that we call Route 7, he said. More notably, he revealed there had been also a whole bunch of Bigfoot sightings. He said, a number of people have had Bigfoot sightings here. I couldn't tell you quite how many of those who have made their sightings public, but you can be sure there are a lot of people who just don't want to talk about it. Recalling one sighting, Joseph revealed a local Bigfoot skeptic had told him he'd spotted a large hairy animal moving near Route 7 in Bennington while on his way back from dropping his daughter off at the college. Detailing the sighting, Joseph said he was a longtime Vermont hunting, fishing sort of character, and he knew the game animals and the big animals in this area, and he wasn't able to identify exactly what he was seeing. He watched it for a while and was able to determine that it was a big two-legged human-shaped critter that he thought was at least 7 feet tall. He had never seen anything like it when I talked to him about it. Some are quick to brush off the sightings as a hoax, but Joseph isn't convinced. Some people say, oh, it's just a guy dressed up in a gorilla suit, nothing to worry about. But people who say that forget that here in Vermont, people drive around with rifles in their pickup trucks, and a person would be very foolish to dress up like a gorilla and walk around within shooting distance of the highway, he pointed out. One other theory Joseph has come across is the large number of dangerous wells in the area. He said, I think it's within reason to suspect that some of those people who disappeared just fell down a well and couldn't get out, and no one can find them again. Despite 3 decades of researching all the eerie myths surrounding the vanishings, Joseph isn't fully convinced by any of the more supernatural theories. He explained, part of me thinks it's just a bunch of separate and unrelated vanishings that just happen in a defined amount of time. Maybe somebody fell down a well. Maybe Paul Jepson wandered off and was eaten by the pigs. Maybe somebody was murdered. It could just be a coincidence of time and place. I'm not quick to leap on supernatural explanations of things, but the theories are enough to make him wary of the remote area, revealing he's only ever been there 3 times and would never stay out there at night. The whole thing is spooky enough that I would not go camping alone on Glastonbury Mountain because I don't know what's up there and it's just a scary place. I've never been up there at night. It was always during the day. So would you guys go look around Glastonbury Mountain?
Go to the woods where it says do not enter.
Yeah, right there. And then I was thinking, I don't think I knew about this unless I have heard stories on it before and I just didn't realize it's the same place. Because there's a lot of little, places kind of like that.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows,
If you're out here walking around, especially in the Emerald Triangle, and you see an animal head on a stick, you get the hell out because you're probably walking on someone's pot farm.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I don't know.
I started kidnapper.
There could be all kinds of weird places like that around. We got Florida down here. We got the Bermuda Triangle. People sail across it daily. Never have a problem, but can't deny all the weird stuff that's happened there. They say, oh, it's just because of weird weather. But I don't know. When planes are flying across and one of them just disappears off the radar. Did it crash for no good reason? Well, the pilot fell asleep. What happened? No warning, no, it just disappears. No, nothing on the radio, just disappears. Or if there is something on the radio, it's like all my instruments have gone crazy, and then and we're going nothing.
Gary says they'll blame it on the cow farts for sure.
Oh, for sure. Damn cows, got to stop eating them. Eat your bugs. Eat your bug burger. Don't complain. Well, I got one more little short one here. Nothing paranormal, nothing weird. Just typical Florida. Florida Ormond Beach, Daytona area, right in between where I live and where Debbie lives. And people are walking on the beach down there, and go out looking for shark's teeth and cool seashells and whatnot. And some of them end up finding. Damn it! This share screen hates me. Some people go out, looking for seashells and shark's teeth and whatnot, and they end up finding bags of cocaine. Hey, maybe I should walk the beach more. Good exercise, right? Well, apparently this lady went out walking on the beach, Ormond Beach, walking the beach in Florida. You never know what the waves will bring in. The Volusia Sheriff's Office said it's been called multiple times in the last few days for people finding large amounts of cocaine washed upon the beach. Both times it was in Ormond Beach. We went to our normal spot and we went and walked the beach. It was just typical, Lauren Bevan said, looking down for stuff, and all of a sudden there's this black book type thing that's just laying on the shore there. It was just sitting on the shore, not even in the waves. Bevan's beach walk turned into her finding over 1 kilogram of cocaine. I kicked it around. I was carrying my 18-month-old, so I was like, what do I do here? I was kicking it around, tried to see what it was. It was heavy. There was something inside it, she said. Bevan said she called the sheriff's office, and the deputies came to the scene, confirming what the white substance was. It's cocaine, ma'am. They tested it and told me the price amount of what it was, and they told me it was cocaine, and I was like, what? I'd convinced myself it was soap. Sheriff's office said it's not exactly rare for someone occasionally to find washed up illegal substances here, especially being in Florida. But this is one of the 2 times for it to happen in the last few days here in Volusia. Deputy said a second large block was found Monday evening in Ormond Beach, this time weighing in at 2 kilograms. It's part of an uptick sheriff's offices across the street. It's an uptick, the state reported. It's uptick of washed up drugs. This Martin County Sheriff's Office also reported bricks of cocaine washed on ashore on Jupiter Island in the last few days as well. While some speculate the source hasn't been confirmed, you hear about it happening, I guess down south in places like that, but you don't think it'll happen to you until it does. I guess I was kind of shocked, said Van. But yeah, low-flying planes, bales of cocaine, something like that. Reverend Horton Heat wrote a song about it. I have a friend that found a 100-pound bag of cocaine. It was in a big duffel bag. Found it on the beach.
Holy cow.
His brother did, actually. But he ended up with a bunch. And I used to work for him. Until he went to jail.
For what? Cocaine distribution?
Yeah, he was dealing with the cocaine. Yeah, he kept doing more and more of it. I'm like, dude, you better slow down. Dude, you better slow down. One day he was on the floor twitching around, foaming at the mouth. I'm like, dude, you're going to fucking die. Didn't die. Went to jail instead. I was up there working, and I left the place, and like within 30 minutes after me leaving, SWAT, every cop known to man, every SWAT team known to man, the whole town converged on this place. And thank God I wasn't there. But I was sweating bullets for the next few weeks.
No doubt. This one I thought was interesting. They're saying that there might be remnants of an ancient planet buried inside of Earth. Researchers are fairly certain that we gained our favorite satellite, the moon, after a planet, Theia, I don't know how you pronounce it, collided with the proto-Earth 4.5 billion years ago. What's not certain are the details surrounding Thea's fate? Was it a hit and run, or did the mantles of the two planets merge? An Earth scientist suggested a new line of evidence to support the latter hypothesis, suggesting that Thea not only merged with Earth, but we might know right where the remnants of its mantle reside in Earth. Compared to the moon, there is much less known about Thea, says Ewan. The moon is there. You have samples. People have been there. Few care too much about the impactor. A lot of the work around the giant impact hypothesis involves comparing isotopes found on the moon with those found on Earth. Their similarities in composition suggest that the moon is made of a hunk of ancient Earth, meaning something like a giant impact knocked it off our pale blue dot. Original models estimated that the impactor, Thea, was about the size of Mars, though some recent studies suggest it might have been more like 4 times the size of Mars, or roughly the size of the proto-Earth. Either way, most researchers agree that the core, the densest part of Thea, merged with the core of Earth incredibly quickly after the impact in a matter of hours. Meanwhile, on Earth, today Earth's mantle isn't completely uniform. About 8% of it is a little different from the rest and forms two big piles near the core mantle boundary. These two piles are called large low shear velocity provinces, so named because seismic waves called shear waves move about 1 or 2% slower when passing through them. Some researchers think they slow down the shear waves because the LLSVPs slow down the shear waves because they're a higher temperature than the rest of the mantle. Others, like Ewan and his colleagues, think they're denser. He says he was sitting in a planetary geochemistry class when the idea struck that the LLSVPs might be related to Thea. As he tells it, he was in class learning about the giant impact hypothesis for the formation of the moon. Zolotov mentioned that the weakest part of the theory was the hypothetical planet Thea. No one had ever found any direct evidence to support its existence. It's totally gone. There's no evidence of it in meteorites, the asteroid belt, anywhere. When Zolotov said this, Ewan recalls, "It struck me so hard. I thought after the impact, Thea would have gone into the Earth. Is it possible it went in Earth and formed the LLSVPs?" His first move was to do some simple calculations, first comparing the size of the two LLSVPs to the size of Mars's mantle. When he added the moon, almost a perfect match, he says. So then I thought, it's not that crazy. He goes on to talk about more of what he did to figure all this out. He joined forces with another guy, Dash, to figure out what Thea's mantle composition would have needed to look like in order for it to resemble today's. And they go on about that. I'll have this on my profile, so if you guys want to read all the extra details. What really stands out about the study is how creative it is. A geoscientist at Michigan State University claims how it connects two fields that were looking at problems in two different ways. So they go on to talk about their hypothesis and everything, which is an interesting theory. And then I think back to an article I saw a couple weeks ago. China drilling a 10,000 meter hole into the center of the Earth, and no one is sure why. So I don't know if, possibly that has something to do with it or not. Chinese scientists have mysteriously begun drilling the 10,000 meter hole into the Earth's crust, and no one is totally sure why. While no one is certain of the motive, the fact that drilling began in the oil-rich region on May 30th may offer a clue as to why, as the world's second biggest economy tries to pull out in front. It's known that such prospecting can identify mineral and energy resources deep beneath the Earth's surface, and that the hole will be so deep that it will reach rock dating back to 145 million years. A technical expert on the operation said that drilling a borehole over 10,000 meters deep is a bold attempt to explore the unknown territory of the Earth. The construction difficulty of the drilling project can be compared to a big truck driving on two thin steel cables. Chinese President Xi calls for a called for greater progress in deep Earth exploration in a 2021 speech directed at the nation's top boffins. The new initiative comes in the same week that China sent its first civilian astronaut into space.
Well, it's kind of like the opposite of here. I remember being a little kid and my granddad, boy, if you dig that hole any deeper, you're going to dig all the way to China.
Right?
It's the opposite. They're in China going, you go dig that hole any deeper, you're going to dig all the way to America.
So when I first, heard this one, I'm thinking, what is China up to now? Are they drilling for oil or minerals? But something just, Then I read this one about, could there possibly be another planet shoved inside of Earth? Is that maybe what they're studying? Because they want to be the first, right? They want to be the first to travel back to the moon, the first to travel back to the moon.
Yeah.
And they want to be, have this big old mile-long space station. They made that flying UFO. They made those laser guns. They're cranking it out right now.
Yep. I don't know, man. The whole moon thing, I could talk about that for days. How we went there, supposedly. But we can't
exactly
get there again now. 50 years later, we can't figure out how to get there. But we went there. We sure as hell did. And why does our moon, out of all the moons, out of all the planets, why is it the only one that doesn't revolve? It just stays. That's why you always see one side of it, no matter where you're at. None of the other moons are like that. Not to say, I don't know. I don't know the rules of space and universe and all that, but just seems pretty weird. All the other moons, they rotate in orbit. Ours just stays one side, always faces the Earth. Is that because the Earth's flat? I don't know. The Earth's not flat, because if it was, cats would have knocked everything off of it by now.
Everybody knows that.
Exactly. And somebody said they thought you were going to say the moon was made of green cheese. Everybody knows it's not made of green cheese. It's made of blue cheese. Yeah. Neil Armstrong's secret comment about they're watching us. Just somebody's watching us. They're playing us. Hopefully they're just, hopefully they're like
just observing.
Well, yeah, that and hopefully they're like caretakers of the universe. Hopefully they're watching out for us to not let us,
well, that's when they're going to start us over. Yeah, we failed. They got to start reset.
Yeah, they're like, these stupid humans are at it. They're going to blow themselves up if we don't set foot in there and do something about it again. These dumbasses can't take care of themselves.
Yeah, they planted all the DNA, 2 by 2 in the ship, planted all the people in the different places, and we failed.
Yep. Oh, boy. What are you going to do, right?
I got that last one.
Go for it.
And I caught this one at the last minute, and I just thought it was interesting. This was People magazine. An elderly woman declared dead in Ecuador shockingly comes back to life, banging on her coffin during her wake.
Let me out of here. Some bitches.
The 76-year-old woman who was declared dead at a Ecuadorian hospital was found alive in her coffin after she started banging on it during her wake. Bella Montoya, a retired nurse, was brought to the hospital early Friday after suffering a heart attack and a possible stroke. After not responding to the resuscitation efforts, she was declared dead. Doctors informed her family, including her son, that she was dead and handed over a death certificate. The family took her to a funeral home, held the wake. 5 hours later, the coffin started to shake. It gave us all a fright. There were about 20 of us there, he continued. About 5 hours of the wake, the coffin started to make sounds. My mom was wrapped in sheets and hitting the coffin, and when we approached, we could see that she was breathing heavily. In a video taken as soon as she was discovered breathing, the open coffin sat in a small light blue room with a crucifix and several lights that Montoya laid in the coffin, wrapped in several different colorful blankets, and breathed heavily, with her mouth opening and closing in quick succession. Relatives removed Montoya from the coffin and quickly took her back to the hospital, where she was placed in intensive care. According to her son, she remained in serious condition on Monday with uncertain prognosis. Montoya is in intensive care. The ministry is also opening an investigation to review how the hospital issues death certificates. A similar incident occurred earlier this year in the United States. A New York nursing home is under investigation after a woman was pronounced dead, only to be found breathing a few hours later at a funeral home. The incident happened at the Water's Edge Rehab and Nursing Center in Port Jefferson. The woman, 82, was pronounced dead at 11:15 a.m. and transported to the funeral home at 1:30 p.m. She was later discovered breathing at 2:09 p.m. and transported to a local hospital, according to the police. It's an awful situation that's caused unnecessary trauma for the impacted resident and her loved ones. And the Attorney General is looking into the incident. A similar incident happened in Iowa in January, when a 66-year-old woman began to gasp for air after the body bag she was in was unzipped at a funeral home there. In that incident, the Glen Oaks Alzheimer's Special Care Center received a $10,000 fine after an investigation by the Health Facilities Division of the Iowa Department, by them. The woman was taken to a hospital and then re-released to the care center, where she died 2 hours later. We just completed an investigation regarding the matter. We care deeply for our residents and remain fully committed to supporting their end-of-life care. All employees undergo regular training so they can best support end-of-life care and the death of residents. I would be livid if that was my family member.
Yeah. I mean, I guess accidents happen, but, you'd think you'd be able to tell if somebody was dead or alive.
I think that'd have to be like a really rare thing. I mean, I do know things happen, and there's a lot of, reasons why somebody that might happen. But it seems like it's happening more than it should be.
Yeah.
And
like
this
that
is just
scene.
being reported on.
Like that scene in Night of the Living Dead. Or Return of the Living Dead, that's what I meant. Where they're like checking out Freddy and Bert. They're like, got the stethoscope on them. Hey, can I use your stethoscope? Mine doesn't seem to be working. Yeah, can I talk to you for a minute? Yeah, not getting a heartbeat, but yet they're still alive. What?
like I could see maybe somebody was like found in this, maybe their heart slowed down if they drowned or were in the snow and their heart like beats, goes into like hibernation or something.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah, exactly. You wake up alive in a coffin and then they send you back to the same place. It's like, no.
No.
We didn't succeed the first time. We shall fix it this time. Yeah.
Oh. Wow. Yeah, that'd be a good telltale right there.
Yeah.
I mean, the woman's in her coffin gasping like a fish.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Can you imagine you're 5 hours into a wake? Everybody's crying, and then the thing starts to shake.
Yeah.
What was going through their minds at that minute? Were there kids in there?
Pop comes open, top pops
The
up.
lid, yeah.
She sits up.
It was grandma.
You haven't got rid of me yet.
Yeah.
People all screaming and running out of the place,
Those kids would never sleep in their own bed again after that.
Exactly.
Or what if like grandma lived after that, say, and then they had to like visit her at Christmas, like every time they would ever see her, they're always going to remember her popping out of that coffin.
Yeah.
They're like going down the hall at night,
I don't want to go see grandma. She's dead.
You're staying with your grandma tonight.
I don't want to stay at grandma's house. She scares me. Yeah, Tommy, we did have things. I was talking last week about the guy, the Pope, the bishop that exploded in the coffin, in the sealed glass coffin.
Mm.
Giblets everywhere. Yeah. Strange.
Crystal of the week this week?
Crystal of the week?
Yeah.
Why, yes, I do. Crystal of the week. Here we go. This week's crystal of the week is Larimar. Larimar, also known as Stelphia's stone, Atlantis stone, and dolphin stone. It's an extremely rare sodium calcium silicate and a member of the pectolite family. Pectolite can be found all around the world, but only in shades of gray and white. The soft blue color of Larimar is due to the substitution of copper instead of calcium. This special mineral was able to form in cavities of basalt rock during heavy volcanic activity. As lava was flowing, the steady stream began to pick up any and all minerals in its path and displace them. As the lava moved over the cavities and dikes, minerals began to fall in and create this beautiful stone we now call Larimar. The unique mineral only has one locality and can only be found within a half square mile in the Dominican Republic, more specifically, the mountains above Baruco. It's commonly referred to as Caribbean stone. Due to the heavy presence this stone holds on all surrounding islands as well. The first attempt to discover Larimar traces back to nearly 100 years ago, in November of 1916. But it was unsuccessful before it even began. The Ministry of Mining, which is in charge of all expeditions on the island, refused to give permission to a man named Father Miguel Dominico Ferretes Loren, who requested an exploration of a mine containing a very unusual stone. This mineral will continue to go unrecognized until 1974, when Miguel Menendez and Norman Rawling found pieces of Larimar on a beach at the base of the Baruca Mountains. Much debate will then ensue, with the majority of locals believing it was an oddly colored stone that washed up with the ocean. He believed it to be an entirely new stone and chose the name Larimar after his daughter, who was named Larissa. and mar, meaning Spanish for sea. After much research and testing, it was declared that this stone came from the mountains above and washed down towards the ocean. This led to the formation of the most important Larimar mine still used today, the Los Chupaderos mine. Currently, this mine has over 2,000 working vertical shafts, and it's the only way the world has a connection to this fascinating and unique crystal. A little bit about the meaning and the energy from Larimar. Larimar is a perfect tool for anyone who finds themselves struggling with controlling emotions and communicating how they truly feel within. The stone activates and unlocks the throat chakra and forces one to open themselves up to the loved ones around us and discuss issues one may be dealing with. This mineral will help keep your mind in a calm state and allow for true emotions from the heart to surface. When you're able to talk through difficulties that are facing you, you will soon realize there is a solution. Simply letting yourself hear what you may have to say will help you better understand yourself and your needs. So often does our mind become foggy or polluted with unnecessary negative thoughts. When this happens, one will never find a solution to their problems. Larimar is here to show you the inner strength you possess and the importance to vocalize the issues you hold close to your heart. Larimar is a very good stone for anyone who has experienced trauma in their life, but cannot move forward from it. This blue form of pectolite will cool down one's emotional body and allow space for one to cope. Trauma refuses to ever leave unless we decide it's time for it to move forward. One should look at these events in their life as a testament to the strength they truly have within, as well as a learning experience about who they really are. Larimar is your pocket therapist, and it will push you towards resolution, relaxation, and an evolution of oneself. You'll experience tremendous growth when using Larimar to communicate the pain from within. I would recommend wearing a piece around your neck. Have it sit as close to one's throat chakra as possible. This will help the activation of one's throat chakra, as well as helping remove any anxiety that settles within your chest. So there's a little bit about this week's crystal of the week, Larimar. Bada boom, bada bing.
Badass.
There's some on Etsy right now that I was looking at. Let's see here. Will this work? Hey, there it is. There's a piece of really cool looking Larimar right there.
It reminds me of when you drop like oil, like the paint, you know, when you do like the dips, like dip again, you know what I mean? The oil, like, and you drop it on the water.
Look how much this piece is. $5,668.
That's not that big.
Not that big. Let's see if it'll play the video. Yay. It's a good chunk.
Oh, damn. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Almost $6,000 rock. Come on, man. It's just a rock.
Can't put that around your, that'd be a big old fat chain. You're like, yeah, there's like a my chain.
Pretty cool looking though.
It's gorgeous.
That's one expensive rock, man. Alan wants to know if there's time. Can one of us do a tarot card, one full? Do you have some tarot cards handy?
I do.
Flava Flav would definitely agree. Yeah, I'll stick with my little chunks as well.
Yeah.
Let's see. Don't see spending $5,000. Almost $6,000 with shipping. It'd probably be $6,000 on a rock. Although, if I was a millionaire,
I like the big pieces too. And like, I was getting my shells and stuff. It's like, it's just nowhere to put all of it. So I've been really digging the smaller, I was looking at skulls and I got the flamestone, but it's like easier to have smaller pieces. You can have more of it.
yeah, I gotta move 2 of my snakes into tubs in back of me there from my living room. And say that opens up 2 more shelves. Already got one of them full of crystals, and the other one has bottles of kombucha and more kombucha, I think, that are fermenting on them. But it's probably going to get eventually filled up with crystals as well. I was thinking about setting up an aquarium here, and I was looking at aquarium gravel today, and I saw I can buy bags of fluorite and like all kinds of crystals that they sell to put in aquariums now.
Oh, wow. I used to put all sorts of stuff in my fish aquariums and things. I decorated it with my own. I mean, in like my exotic frog tank with my salamanders and all that. It was like land and water. I used my own rocks and such, crystals. You got the reversed King of Cups, Alan. I just sent it to you. The keywords for that is self-compassion, inner feelings, moodiness, and emotionally manipulative. So if you see the reverse King of Cups, it could indicate that right now you're focusing your attention on your innermost feelings, or you may be more prone to emotional upset and drama, and others might be triggering you or pushing your buttons. And when I was reading the energy report about today, in fact, because I've noticed myself starting to kind of lash out at a couple of people the past couple of days because I've just had it, and I've been feeling that naturally. So be careful with that right now, especially. I've been having to put myself in a check a lot the past couple of days, and I didn't know why. I've been pretty much just keeping it to myself, to be honest, because I just know that it's not going to be good. And so I was just reading this today. It says it's in the moon's in down into Earth Taurus. On Wednesday afternoon, the moon will make a challenging aspect to Mars, planet of passion, energy, and action. This aspect can cause restlessness, disputes, and irritability. We may view situations as threats when we are really feeling overly sensitive and insecure. Find a way to express your frustration either through exercise or creativity so that you don't lash out at friends or family, and avoid making hasty decisions this afternoon. Which, is the end of the day. So if anybody was feeling like that today, that might be why.
Could be. Linda says, "Did my snakes get too big for their habitat?" Nope. Just moving things around.
I'm going to do the Psychic Tarot Oracle. I'll start making a list. Do you have your cards, Rob?
Yeah. Let me see.
Let me see. I think first is going to be Debbie. I gotta write his name down. And Heather.
Looking at all my stacks of.
Azariana.
I don't see that one at the time being. So I'm going to use the one I have in my hand here, which is the Egyptian Gods Oracle card.
John. And Janice.
I have sometimes tongue twister names in this deck. It's one of the pop-out cards. Booga bagada. It is the Man Protection card. And it says, whoa, man, I love when you just open the book right to the page. That's got to mean something. Mahan, protection card. He is a beneficial serpent god. Speaking of talking about snakes, I got a snake, man. His name is Mahan. He's just a god of protection. In Billy's voice. He's a serpent. Now I'm making myself laugh and I can't read. He's the serpent god and guardian of the solar bark of Ra, whose name means he who is coiled. The sacred, this is like the perfect card for Debbie tonight. The sacred Mahan shields the god Ra during his journeys on the solar bark, protecting him from the evil serpent Apis. He carefully protects Ra's journey, also to allow him to be reborn at every sunrise and defeat death. It is envisaged, I don't know that word. It's not envisioned, it's something else. That the time of conflict is on the way to you. You will have to fight. Be alert to maintain your position, but do not fear. Mahan's powerful energy ensures you great protection against the external attacks to come out of and victorious and relieved. To be victorious and relieved. So, yeah, I don't know. You may have a conflict coming up, Debbie. But I know you. And you shall kick its ass.
Damn right.
Because that girl's a warrior, straight up.
Straight up, man. And then you're going to have Azariana next. And I just pulled Heather. And you got the solar plexus chakra. Through this card, the manifestation of growth is on the horizon. You're the creator, and the seeds that have been planted in the past, whether they were happiness, comfort, abundance, prosperity, family, children, ideas, or even thoughts, are now ready to give birth into your world. Be patient as you watch your seeds take root and grow. Nurture them as they become strong and healthy. Open yourself to the life force of the universe. This card also represents femininity and Mother Earth, who is calling to you. The arms of her beauty are reaching out. She wants to embrace you on her seashores, mountains, forests, and gardens. Go to her and meet her halfway. Acknowledge that the same energy that makes up the heavens, earth, plants, animals, and mineral kingdom is also part of you. Start nurturing yourself and infuse your soul with love and compassion. Soon others will see and feel your devotion. As you interact with others around you, now or even if you're in the midst of solving a problem, use gentle care and kindness as you handle these situations. This isn't a time for you to be inconsiderate, possessive, domineering, forceful, or pushy. Act from the loving space of your heart center. The benevolent energy that resides there will assist you in making sacrifices in order to care for and help others as well as yourself. And then the traditional tarot archetype that goes with this is the Empress. So you can look up the Empress card if you want to, and you can get some information on that one. Biddy Tarot has really good definitions.
Where he says, how many decks do I have? I have no idea. I need to just actually get them all together and count them someday. Last time I counted the ones in front of me and to the side of me, and there was like 50. But there's also 4 or 5 decks down there and 2 or 3 over there and several on that shelf back there. And I got, speaking of tarot, I showed Jamie this one a while back, and I still haven't even opened it, but I thought it was pretty cool. Does anybody have this? It's the American Renaissance Tarot deck.
Ooh.
It's like the case looks like an old book. And I haven't, it's still in the plastic. It's just been sitting down here. Haven't opened it yet. I got it from my friend Steve and Heather, the Odd Macabre downtown. A Night Among Ghosts. They have a really cool store down there. Check it out.
And then you've got,
you can look up the Odd Macabre online, and they have stuff. They got crystals. They got all kinds of cool stuff in there now. Hopefully some of my artwork's in. I got a Zeriana, right?
Yep.
This card popped out of the deck, and I can't read it in there, but it is the Shu, Order and Peace card. SHU. Primordial God, son of Amon-Ra, who personifies the air, the wind, but also the light that broke the primeval darkness. His name means he who rises. Shu is commonly portrayed with an ostrich feather on his head. The ostrich feather is a symbol of lightness and purity, the air meaning breath of life and cooling breeze. This card advises you to adopt a more disciplined form of behavior. Try to avoid uncontrolled impulses of desires and passions. The time has come to lighten and rebalance your life. Respect rules with greater responsibility. I think we all kind of just do that sort of involuntarily as we get older. It's like you can't find yourself doing the same things you used to do. At least I can't.
That be true.
I go out and play a gig at night now, and I come home. I got to make sure I take ibuprofen before I go.
Oh. I've got turquoise, and then you will have Linda. And for turquoise, you got the victory and success card. It's got a gentleman at the edge of a cliff. Looks like he's blowing some sort of a horn. Good news is on the way. The qualities of this positive card are completion, victory, and success that often follow a difficult period. Many people around you are very proud to see how you triumphantly came through it. They respect you and may even attempt to follow your example. You've worked hard and devoted much effort to get to this point in your life where you've become wiser and have grown in so many ways. Always remember to stop and pat yourself on the back because you deserve it. This card also reminds you to stay grounded, remember where you came from, and keep your ego in check. Don't lose who you really are. This victory can be used as a teaching tool for the future. Realize that if you came through this challenging time, that you can achieve anything.
Who is this one for?
For Linda.
Is it's one of those names. Satet. 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 And it is the fruitfulness card. She's depicted as a woman with the crown of Upper Egypt with two gazelle horns on top. Her name derives from she who pours, which symbolizes the floods of the river Nile, or she who runs like an arrow that is current of the flowing river. In fact, she represents natural forces and phenomena. A goddess of fertility. She could signal you to be a successful start of a new project or a new job. If you're in search of love, Sata can help you answer your wishes. If you're already in a relationship, she can bring you stability or even marriage because she protects new projects. So any new projects on the horizon? Which could leave the table open to all kinds of projects. It's usually my problem is I have so many new projects going on at the same time. I get lost.
I hear that.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I have John, and then you have Janice, and that looks like everybody. John got the patience card, and you're on YouTube, so I don't have your messenger to send it to you, but I think it'll go look there. 14. This card signifies the need for patience, self-control, adjustment, moderation, and balance when dealing with others, as well as yourself. This could be in the area of how you think and work, and how you handle school, recreation, the people in your life, or the spiritual path that's set before you. As a soul, you have more than one aspect of yourself to draw on for support. It's all about integration and learning to blend and balance both the physical and the spiritual. You're an ethereal being in a physical body, enjoying a human experience. Therefore, since you're both, you should honor all of you. If you go through life denying yourself the joy of combining these aspects, you're missing out on so much of what the world has to offer. Why accept a life that's only half lived? The patience card reminds you to open your heart and mind and allow yourself to listen to other people's ideas, thoughts, and perspectives. blissful harmony can be achieved when everyone learns to work as one. Everybody benefits. Listening, sharing, and reaching out will help you to renew faith in yourself and humankind. You'll become more aware of the miracles around you as well as the ones that you have a hand in creating. And yours has a traditional tarot archetype also, which is the Temperance Tarot card. And then you've got Miss Janice.
It is this card right here, which is the Beset Passion card. And what it says. Cat-headed female deity are portrayed as a black cat, sun goddess. She personifies the beneficial heat of the sun, protectress of the home and cats, goddess of prosperity and wealth. She represents sensuality and tenderness, charm and generosity, love and passion, desire and pleasure. Maybe you should take a break from your routine and reconnect with nature and with yourself. Live your life with more of a fullness and passion. It lies within your ability to develop seduction and passion. You could get great satisfaction in any areas of your life and experience moments of full joy and satisfaction. Back to, basically that grounding theory again, which is a huge one.
They're just talking about the Basset Cat on Sunday, too.
Ah.
Good times.
Cool. Does that fit? Cool. Well, yep. It's a little after 2 a.m. here. And that means Weird Wednesday has come to an end. And I'm struggling to get cards in the box. Anyways, thanks for hanging out with us. As always, be careful the rest of the week. Hope you guys have a great week. Look out for, UFOs because they're trending nowadays.
And if you see someone record them, send them in and we'll play them.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I would have got some video of the crazy thing I saw in the sky the other night, or the crazy guy that was running out in front of me the other night, or the ghost truck that was sitting there.
Yeah.
No, I was fumbling for my phone to video, the big orange rocket in the sky. But then it just went out and it was over with. But yeah, it turned out to be SpaceX.
So cool, though.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome looking. Just randomly I go out at, a little after 3 a.m, driving down the road, and I look up and I see giant orange fireball in the sky, and what the hell is it? And it turns out it's a SpaceX that launched at 3:10 a.m. right down the road a ways, down there more towards where Debbie lives, a little further south. Good old Cape Canaveral. Anyways, that's it. Y'all have a great week, rest of the week, and we'll talk to you then. We'll probably see you on not weird paranormal soup, just regular paranormal soup this Sunday. See you then. Thanks for hanging out with us as always.